Relationship advice. Timestamps in the pinned comment, if you already read the original story and just want to read the update. Update: ex-wife left for her affair partner and returned after 10 years, asking to take her back in my life. Original story: me, 34 male, my ex-wife, 35 female, let's call her X, my neighbor, affair partner, my neighbor's wife, 37 female, call her Maggie. Me and my wife married in 2009. We had our baby in 2010. In November 2010, while she was asleep, a message popped on her phone and was a flirty message. I checked on her phone, and it was from our neighbor. I went through every single message, which included texting, sharing nudes, and even had planned meetups at hotels. This was going on from the first week into our marriage. I felt like my world crumbled in front of me. I took screenshots of every message and saved on my phone. Next day, I contacted Maggie and let her know about the affair. They were married for 4 years and had their first baby, almost the exact same time as we had ours. I confronted my wife, and told her that I am going to give her divorce. She started crying and everything else, but I did not consider it. I also did paternity test on our child, son, because the affair timeline was same as conception date. After 2 days, when I come home from work, our baby was crying in our bed and the ex was nowhere to be seen. Then I found a letter of her, telling that she did not love me, and she had left with a affair partner, and to not contact them. I knew this was coming, but I didn't believe that a mother can leave her child, was about 6 months old, alone, and can run off with her lover. I then went to Maggie's house. She had received a similar letter from her husband. I felt sorry for her, as she was going from postpartum depression, had her baby just a few months ago, and was left alone. Also, paternity test result came back, and he was my son. I tried to contact X's family, but they also didn't know where she was, and were shocked by her behavior. Her father even said that if she ever came back, she would not be allowed to enter their house. They basically disowned her. Maggie was very supportive. She began coming to my home to watch the kids, and even breastfed both of them, hers and mine. As time passed, we were like family. My son called her mom, and had known only her as mom. We also decided to go on dates. We got engaged a year later, and married in 2013. We had our first child in 2015. We often discussed things about our exes, and how we were often disrespected by them. We were a happy family. In 2018, when my son accidentally saw a picture of my ex, picture after birth, so it included X, me, and him, so we decided to tell him that her birth mother X had died in car accident years ago, and Maggie took care of him since he was 6 months old. Fast forward 2 days ago, I received an anonymous email. I opened it and it read, "I want to see my son, and want my family back. We are not divorced yet." I knew it was X. I showed this to Maggie. Maggie started freaking out, and asked me if I would take her back. I calmed her down, and told her that she was an ugly past and I would never leave you. I would never take her back. Now I am confused what to do. I will definitely not take her back, but should I let her meet my son or not? Should I take my son's opportunity to have connection with her birth mother? Now for the top advice before the update. Absolutely not. She was toxic 10 years ago and obviously hasn't changed. She will end up hurting all of you so much more than she already had. No. Coming from a child abandoned by their mother, who only showed up every 3 years because stepbrother's dad tried to convince her she needed to be part of my life. I've been in a family dynamic similar to this. In my experience, it would do more harm to your son than good. When he is 18, you can tell him the whole story and let him decide. As an adult, your ex made the decision to leave. If you truly did get a divorce, I would fight with everything I have to maintain custody. She left. You stayed. She's holding on to the past. You're building a new future. She is not going to be a part of your future story. When the time is right, you can give the choice to your son. I would not wait too long to tell the son, because I think the ex would maybe try to contact him and manipulate the truth, to make OP look like the bad guy. 1. Telling the kids that your ex died, is wrong. You should never have done that. Your son, and likely your other kids, will need therapy, or at the very least, you should consult a psychologist to get advice regarding how to tell them the truth. The more you lie, the likelier he will eventually go live with her and believe whatever excuse she gives him. 2. Assuming you have an actual judgment that gives you full custody, you can ignore her communication entirely, or get a lawyer to send her a letter saying, visitation is not in the child's best interest. You can then either wait for her to file in court asking for visitation, or you can proactively attempt to have her parental rights terminated, perhaps also having his actual mother adopt him. Child support doesn't usually have an impact on custody, but a reminder that she has not paid child support for 10 years and that there are still many years left, where it should be due, can help as well. However, only through formal lawyer letter, not by responding directly. 3. You might not be able to prevent visitations from happening. At the very least, ask for a very slow progression with short visits supervised by a social worker or psychologist. 4. Did your wife's ex-husband reappear as well? Expect that he might show up too. 5. Don't panic. Edit. Thank you for such response. I have missed a lot of detail to tell you guys. First is that, I have divorced her before marrying Maggie. I think she doesn't know, as she was nowhere to be located. Second is that, I have written L instead of M by mistake. I had full custody of my son, as X was nowhere in the picture, but now she is back, so I don't know if my full custody will be maintained or not. And now for the update. Thank you for such a response. A lot has happened since the last time. Also, I didn't want to post the update, as many people in comments thought it as fake, but till this day, I am getting messages for the update, so I decided to update you all. So, let's start by saying this, that we didn't require court or lawyer. Some of you claim that she would have no parental rights over my son, as she had abandoned us years ago. To confirm the claim, I contacted my friend, who is a lawyer, and confirmed that she could face heavy fine, termination of parental rights and jail. I told him about the time period of abandonment, and asked what were the chances of winning in my case. He told me that if a parent fails to contact physically with the child for over a year, 99% he or she is given termination of parental rights. I had a sigh of relief after listening those words. I also joined therapy with my son, so that I can tell him the truth about his biological mother. As I wanted to find out why she contacted me after 10 years, I messaged her father, who is still a best friend of mine and gives me some good advice, whether X contacted his family or not. Turns out, that she had contacted her sister for money time to time for 10 years, but now her sister is not willing to help her as she was asking a bit more money. I asked him about her conditions, and whether introducing her to my son would be a good idea or not. He answered by saying, she just has a minimum wage job, and lives in a small apartment with 3 roommates. By listening him saying this, I felt bad for her, but she earned it. He said that she would be a bad influence on our son, so it's better not to introduce him to X. Next, I called her sister and asked her what were their conversations like in past 10 years? She told me everything. How X contacted her only for money, because after paying rent, she had no money left for groceries and other utilities. X never asked about my son, but only for money. I asked her about relationship between X and the affair partner, to which she replied, he is in prison for sexual assault since 2015. I don't know why, but I felt happy upon hearing this news. I asked her whether X knows about the divorce or not. She said X has no idea about the divorce, and she still thinks that we are legally married. I asked her to tell X about everything, divorce, child custody, my new family, and that she has no right over my son. I told everything to Maggie, and she was a bit surprised by X's behavior. She never thought that a mother can be so careless towards her own child. She was also shocked to hear the news about the affair partner. It's been 30 days, and X has not contacted us. Family counseling is going great and we have decided to legally adopt one another's kids. I don't think X will contact us again, as her sister might have told her about her position legally, and that she would just waste money by hiring an attorney. If something happens, I'll update you guys. Now for some comments. Wow, this is a really rare one to read, after 10 years, to wanting to come back. Based on what you wrote, your ex is just looking out for herself. Looking for a place to stay. She's so desperate that she was willing to contact you. Glad that you've done your research by contacting everyone that knows your ex, to understand what's going on with your ex. Sounds like you have everything under control with a wonderful family. Please don't ruin it by introducing your ex. Absolutely do not let this woman back into your life. She is toxic and will ruin anything in her path. Sounds like you are doing well. Good luck to you in the future. Also, your ex is absolute human garbage and deserves everything. I'm surprised you guys didn't go for termination of rights when you first had the opportunity, considering you told your son that she died. My only sliver of advice would be to talk to a professional about lying to your child about their parent being dead. That is going to be a shell-shocking moment for them when they inevitably find out they have been deceived. I agree. Letting his son know mom abandoned him would have been much better. Then the kid would understand who his real mother is, the woman who breastfed him, loved him enough to help raise and take care of him. Now for the next story. Found out my therapist is an affair partner. I found out that the psychologist I'm seeing to help me recover from being cheated on is a mistress herself. By coincidence, my mom knows friends of hers. What are the ethics behind this? I am incredibly uncomfortable, and made more upset having been told to let go and learn to overcome this, by someone who empathizes more so with the perpetrator than the victim in my situation. I get psychologists are also humans who can make bad decisions. However, psychologists also deal primarily with vulnerable people, and hold a lot of power that way. I do believe they are to be responsible and know their own limits. I was already angry before, and now I'm even angrier. Understandably, some of it may be irrational now. I am sickened that she could seriously look me in the eyes, and tell me to forgive my ex and sympathize with whatever disorder in his life drove him to hurt me, instead of referring me to a more suitable psychologist in her place. Frankly, I want her fired, but that's probably impossible. Now for the top advice. If her advice is biased and unprofessional, ditch her. Interestingly, my divorce lawyer is a cheater. At first, that really disturbed me, but it actually makes him a better lawyer. He gave me good insights into the mind of a cheater, and even helped me get past feelings of vengeance and anger. For what it's worth, he got hit by the karma bus with his second wife, and is suffering all the consequences, such as being unable to be a real father to his son with his first wife, whom he cheated on. Seeing a cheater so deeply unhappy, gives me some hope. I get your point in how it could be good. But lawyers are different from psychologists, in that the latter is meant to help your health and well-being. If I was any worse off, this would send me completely spiraling, instead of just being extra angry and hurt. As a therapist myself, we have to be totally unbiased when it comes to treating people. However, we are still human. Ethically, she isn't really doing anything wrong if she claims she is staying impartial, but still seems strange to me. She has the choice to refer to other providers if she feels she can't stay neutral, so hopefully she is able to do that. But I can't imagine how your own experiences/bias wouldn't trickle into treatment. I don't think you'd get anything out of reporting her, but I'd probably seek help elsewhere for my own peace of mind. That being said, we all have our own baggage as providers, and any new provider you find could also have their own experiences with infidelity that you wouldn't have a clue about. Update. I will not try to get her fired, due to the creepy things I'll have to do to get proof. I still do not agree in allowing someone who's an active perpetrator of a bad thing, be in charge of telling victims of that bad thing what to do and how to be. I agree in allowing them, only if they had stopped and is actively trying to overcome and be better. But even then, I also do think there is some weird power imbalance in having an ex-cheater tell a victim what to do. I think an ex-victim to a new victim would be more suited. Ultimately, it is apparent that what I believe doesn't matter. I still don't understand how at most jobs, people have been fired over proved racist behaviors and such, but in a profession that is meant to help people be better, those authorized to do so aren't held to tighter standards. I am not saying a cheating therapist can't then be fit for a patient dealing with substance abuse or other issues. I am saying that the only scenario relating to relationship issues that I can see working for a therapist who used to cheat, is for when it comes to patients struggling with cheating, never the victim. If I see this woman outside of a professional setting, I will absolutely give her a piece of my mind, especially if I happen upon her in social events as a result of my mom's connection with her friends. I will not be stalking or following her. That was never in my thoughts. Stop dogpiling me. The first 6 people telling me, without criticism, not to act on my wants and urges, was enough to help me calm down. I only wanted to know the ethics of this, the possibility and how reasonable it would be for me to bring it up with the clinic, vent and get real insight and understanding. Now for the last story. My 29 male, now ex-wife, 28, texted me today to apologize for cheating and asked to speak again. I blocked her, but since I've stopped dating and basically gave up romantic relationships, her text reminded me that I am lonely. Back here again to seek some advice. If you want some background on the relationship, the only other post on this account was on here basically spilling my guts about it. My issue now is that a few years after separation she's just messaged me saying she's disgusted with what she did, got therapy, and wants to talk to me again. I am aware that she lost her job when the virus hit, and that she is likely very lonely since lockdown, so her reasons for reaching out to me now feel obvious and frankly selfish. It threw me for a loop when I got her message, and the crazy rush of swirling emotions it caused me, led me to block her. While I don't see myself ever forgiving her, the message reminded me that I haven't been with anyone physically since her. I went on a few dates after the divorce, but it felt off, and when one of the women I was seeing asked if we could be exclusive, only to leave her phone with a Tinder convo open with another guy stating the complete opposite on the first night, I was over. I pretty much checked out of romantic relationships. I want to take a moment to say that I am not misogynistic and have met many fantastic, loyal, caring women in my life. Men, women, gay, and straight, can all cheat, and I am in no way advocating that other people give up romantic relationships. My issue personally, is that while her message made me realize I'm lonely, I personally don't want to do it again. The ridiculous amount of time and effort involved in being a good, loyal, caring, and supportive partner I've put into relationships, only for it to be figuratively spit on, as well as being with people who say all the right things, only to ultimately do the opposite has, I think, made me understandably jaded. I'm struggling with this for a bunch of reasons though. Unfortunately, I do have a libido, and am attracted to hot women. I have had success with approaching them and could go for more, but there are two problems. Meaningless intercourse with randoms doesn't really do it for me. While I am very actual and adventurous, I like to be so with a singular person who cares about me as I do about them. Second, each time I've dealt with infidelity, it's been with attractive partners. I've been avoiding a woman I went on a few dates with, because while we hit it off, and she seems like she's fallen for me, I am not as physically attracted to her as I have been with others. When she came onto me hard, I had to distance myself because I don't want to hurt her by hitting and quitting. I feel bad about it, but I keep considering it because it feels like maybe she wouldn't cheat on me. But it'd be wrong to string her along, when I don't have the same feelings for her. And again, I have other options. I just can't seem to get over this hang-up that the hot ones cheat. I don't know. I guess I ended up rambling again on here. My advice-related question I guess is, should I try again? Thanks for reading, and if you do have any advice, I'd appreciate it. Edit, getting some similar replies, so thought I'd mention here, that the consensus seems to be that less attractive people absolutely do cheat too, and staying out of romantic relationships out of fear of getting hurt won't ever help. Also, something I said to someone who questioned how I could be so jaded so young, as well as to shed more light onto where the wariness to attractiveness came from. I think it's because the marriage was so long and seemed like it was going to go the distance for so long, that when it suddenly ended with such an intense betrayal, I lost a lot of hope for future relationships. Shorter experiences after, only entrenched those feelings, and each one was with the more attractive partners I have been with. Now for the top advice. My ex-husband cheated. I'm with a new man now and we have a child. It was hard in the beginning, and I had to really take a good look at myself and my thoughts, in order not to project what my ex did onto my new guy. But in the end, I want a romantic connection to someone. I want closeness, and love, and intimacy. If I want that, I can't just shut down and think that what has happened to me is bound to happen again. I have to take a leap of faith and trust that things will turn out good. Also, looks doesn't tell whether someone will cheat or not. That's quite toxic thinking. My ex was way uglier than me, but he cheated anyway. Yeah, I think you're right. The closeness from a romantic relationship is what I'm missing. Friends and family have been great, but it seems like I do have to take a leap if I want that. Equating looks to cheating was toxic. I'm going to try therapy to get over it. People of all attractiveness levels will cheat. While attractive people have more options and get hit on more, don't force yourself to date someone you aren't genuinely attracted to. It's not fair to her, and perhaps you'll be the one to cheat in the future instead. Keep looking. This is a good point overall. It seems to me attractiveness is only half the battle. I know drop-dead gorgeous hot women who are lonely, and women who are average at best be so freaking happy. I've known ugly and pretty people who treated their partners like crap. There's someone for everyone. Just keep trying to find someone in your ideal level of beauty, attractiveness, interest, and mental/emotional connection. Damn. Good for you for ignoring her and blocking. That takes some resolve. Your desire for partnership isn't likely to go away. I don't have crap for advice. This is a doozy. But good for you. It sounds like you worked hard to develop yourself and your career. I'm sure you can find someone you find attractive who is loyal. In my experience, insecurity is the #1 reason people cheat. I'm attractive, and I've never cheated on anyone, ever. Or even remotely close to it. Have you tried therapy? I think you would benefit from it. Best of luck to you. And forget that cheating ex. She is just wanting to feel better about herself. I spent most of my time after the separation working on myself. So working out, spending time with family, and getting back into fun hobbies I had neglected while married. I considered therapy, but being busy and motivated by other pursuits, made me forget. I'll look